What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of The Taste of Success. Today we are here with Jess Salamanca of Banana Scoops. Hello, Jess.
Hi, Mitch. How are you? How's your day going?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Nice and sunny down here. How about you?
I know. Yeah, I know. It's sun. It seems like it's coming out, which is super exciting. Finally, for the weekend.
Yes, yeah, just in time for all the pubs and restaurants and things to open. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah. So happening this weekend, isn't it? It's a bit weird.
Yeah, it still feels surreal. Like I'm quite happy with my kitchen, home, work-life bubble.
Mm.
But yeah, it's going to be nice to be able to get a pint from somewhere every now and then. But maybe.
Yeah. I know. We live in central London. We used to go out for dinner quite a lot, and now the thought of like going out for dinner in a restaurant feels like such a big luxury.
So for those that don't know who you are, introduce sort of yourself and your brand Banana Scoops, from what I've seen and from what I've tasted, because I actually saw you at a vegan event in London early last year, I think
Yeah.
it was. So I
Yeah.
actually tried it. It is absolutely delicious. Tell us a little bit about
Thank
it.
you. Yeah, so hi everyone. So I'm Jess Salamanca. I am the founder of Banana Scoops, and we make banana-based ice cream. So we're the only brand in the UK at the moment making ice cream like from bananas instead of dairy or dairy alternatives. And we use all natural and plant-based ingredients. So, I mean, the best thing about it, the thing I like the most is that it's ice cream so healthy that you can have it for breakfast. And what's not to love about that? So
Amazing.
yeah, that's in a nutshell.
So there's no kind of like, it's not like a soy milk base or coconut milk base. Like a lot of them, it's banana puree and all sorts of other things.
Yeah, because a lot of the vegan ice creams are either coconut milk or kind of like cashew almond milk or a mix of that. But yeah, no, we don't use any plant milk alternatives either. So it's literally banana puree as a base, and then we add other like natural ingredients to make the different flavors. So, for example, we've got chocolate with cocoa powder. We've got vanilla with a B, which is kind of like our vanilla version. And we also have raspberry with raspberry puree as well. So super tasty. They're quite refreshing, and they're quite different to normal ice cream as well.
Amazing. Yeah, they are absolutely delicious. And it's a really nice kind of like healthy concept. Like in terms of sugars,
Mm.
what added sugar is there? Like, is there a particular type used or is there any?
Yeah, so I say there's no added sugar. The law is slightly different, but all we use is banana and dates. So if you're using dates, sometimes you have to call it an added sugar. But at the end of the day, I add it more for the flavor than just sugar for the sake of it. So yeah, the main thing is just the bananas and the dates.
So it's unrefined sugar. So it is pretty much as healthy as you can get for a nice indulgent treat, as you said, for breakfast
Yeah.
if you want.
Yeah, so actually I put it in like the base of my smoothies a lot. So I do have it for breakfast quite often. Yeah.
How did it all start? What was your kind of passion behind banana ice cream? How did it go from being your homemade concept to being now
Mm.
in Ocado, Waitrose? Seems to be
Not
growing.
in Waitrose
Oh,
yet.
goodness.
Fingers crossed for that. Yeah, we're an Ocado plant organic and as nature intended. I mean, Waitrose would obviously be ideal, but it's probably a bit further down the line. But yeah, it all started. I mean, I've had the idea for like 5 or 6 years now. I've always thought, if you can make ice cream from bananas and it's super healthy, really tasty, why wouldn't you? And why is anyone else doing it? So I had the idea for ages, and it was around like maybe 14 months ago that I think my full-time job, I was working in events, plateaued a little bit. I think like, I was running these events easily. I wasn't like gaining too much from them anymore. And I just wanted to do something with food. I'm a big foodie. I grew up with food. My parents actually own a restaurant in Spain. And we lived above it. So, food has been huge in my life. So I wanted to do something with food. Job got a bit boring and I had this idea. So I was like, why don't I just go for it? So ended up quitting my full-time job, going freelance, and started testing recipes in my kitchen. Really, really fun though.
Amazing. So it's quite a
Yeah.
scary leap when you kind of have that moment of going, right, I'm leaving my work, I'm going to fully pursue this. Obviously, we did the same with Mitch's Kitchen, leaving that certainty and going, right, I'm going to put everything into it. So when you
Mm-hmm.
first left, how did you go from going your initial homemade ice cream to actually finding a
Mm-hmm.
supplier? Because I know within the startup community, that's a really big thing, trying to find a co-packer or producer,
Mm-hmm.
any of those kind of things. It's quite scary because it's your baby.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest leaps, isn't it? Because you can so like do it at home as much as you can, and you can sell it at markets, and there's an element of that. But then taking it to the next level into retail and manufacturing, it is like such a massive leap. It goes from like a small scale to quickly quite a big scale. So yeah, I was making all the ice cream myself at home. I literally had bananas everywhere. It was a mess. And we were selling at markets, which is I think where we met, which is yeah, a really good way of testing the market, validating the idea, seeing what recipes work best. And then my idea was always to go into retail. I knew like markets were fun, but they weren't the main like objective for the brand. So after testing it in markets, I kind of just went on Google and searched ice cream manufacturers UK. Like it doesn't get any more basic than that. And got on the phone with a couple of them. One of them was really keen. They were, still a small producer, but BRC accredited to the highest level of like food safety. And yeah, they wanted to chat. So I had a couple of meetings with them, tested a few recipes, and yeah, we managed to get a product that people like. So that was a huge jump for us and a very exciting part of the process.
Amazing. Was it like from first trial of saying this is my recipe, make it? Did it taste perfect? Was there a bit of back and forth? Because I know with
no, yeah, there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of compromising as well. So it's one of those where it's like, okay, you can make something in your kitchen, especially something that's frozen, and I'm sure you can relate to this. But it's not the same when you have it fresh and eat it straight away. Then you freeze it. Like a lot of things happen, a lot of things change. Taste may not change as much, but texture is a really big thing once you're like freezing something. So we had to play around with that a little bit. But most of the testing that we did was like, oh, so how much raspberry should we put into it? How much chocolate should we put into it? Which is quite a fun thing to do. And then all the taste sessions that we have were really fun because it's like, oh, this one is a bit more acidic. This one tastes a bit more raspberry. Let's play around. So it's quite fun. But in terms of the like consistency and texture, that's when it got a bit more technical and where we had to get a little bit more help.
Amazing. Yeah, it's definitely I've heard that from quite a few different producers and people who have gone from the kind of kitchen table to manufacturer. We're still doing it in house. Like we have our kitchen set up, and I am the actual producer myself. But I know with the freezing and cooking element, it was a whole learning curve of saying you can't just put in like fully cooked roasted peppers, then they'll just turn to mush when you cook them again. So I imagine with ice cream, it's very hard with like the ice crystals and those kind of things to try and make sure it has the right mouthfeel and the right flavors and textures, as you said. So it's must have been fun.
Yeah, exactly. It is exactly that. The ice crystals, and it gets a bit like really technical in terms of like how quickly do you cool down and freeze the ice cream mix, and how long do you leave it before you put the lid on? It's all those little things that you don't think about it when you're making it at home. You just kind of go with it. But you do have to be a lot more precise, and especially to get like consistency throughout. When I was making at home, if I probably were to test it one batch to another, they probably tasted slightly different. But I didn't notice it, and for markets it was fine. But once you're making it a bit scale, you do need it to taste all the same. So consistency was key.
Definitely, yeah. I think again, like it's making sure that people know the product they're buying will taste the same every time they buy it, and I think that's, as you said, consistency really is key.
Exactly.
So with the brand itself, it's a really strong branding. Like I'll obviously put your images around in this discussion. So if people haven't seen it, like check out the branding. It is amazing. How long did it take to come up with that design? And I assume that wasn't the initial design. You've probably worked and developed over time. So when was it you actually started all of this?
Yeah, so it is funny because we've only just launched. Like we've been out there for people to buy us for a month now, but we've already had 3 different logos throughout the process. So one of the first things that I did when I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a go, is I don't have a name for the ice cream for the market for the whole business. So even though I had the idea for 6 years, I never came up with a name. So it was literally one time, like one night at home in bed, just going on my computer, came up with banana scoops, and then literally put them together on a yellow background with 2 different fonts. I was like, yep, there's my logo. Obviously, that has changed a lot. So yeah, so it was really fun. I was working with actually the logo was designed by one of my really good friends. She's a graphic designer, and she kind of like did it as a gift for me. So that was amazing because not only did I like really trust her, because I used to work with her and I know her like graphic design skills are amazing, but I knew she would really take care of our brand. So I think for her to design the logo and the packaging for the first time was amazing. And obviously we've had to tweak it a little bit more. We've had to commercialize it a little bit so that if people see the ice cream in a freezer from a couple meters away, they know what it is straight away. but that core design is still there, and it was just amazing to get it done by a friend. I think that makes a big difference, and it makes it even more of your like baby.
Amazing. What was her name? Give her a shout out.
Oh yes, she's Lauren Grace Design. She's amazing. Check her out.
Perfect. I'll put that in the link description. But yeah, it's always
Mm,
nice to. That's one thing that I'm really passionate about is supporting others in the same journey.
mm,
I know you're on the Food Hub on Facebook, and you've been part of the
yeah.
Evolution kind of talks as well in the morning. So it's a really good way to network. And you're actually kind
Mhm.
of working on a kind of similar thing yourself, aren't you, with Lauren from Otsu?
Yeah, so Lauren and I got together because I think we both used to come from like not necessarily corporate backgrounds, but just having a team to work with, and we were kind of missing that like teamwork and accountability as well. I mean, me specifically, I actually work better today, so I'm the kind of person that does the assignment like the night before and works well with the deadline. But if I have loads of times, I just procrastinate a lot. So starting your own business is really hard, and you're doing everything yourself. There's no one there to tell you what you're doing right, what you're not doing, whether you should be prioritizing one thing over another. So Laura and I got together and like, let's just create a food entrepreneur kind of like accountability program. There's no one else doing anything like this, and it's literally just a bunch of people doing similar things, jumping on a call every Monday morning, whenever it is that we decide, and sharing ideas and sharing accountability, which is just an amazing thing to do. So I'm really excited about that. And I think we'll probably hopefully start next week, which will be amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Thank
it's something
you.
that again I could tell from every week that I went onto the Evolution one.
Mm,
It was so nice seeing the same faces, and it made my Thursday morning something I really looked forward to, and something you're learning as an individual, as a business. You're having that personal development and growth, and to be able to kind of do that, as you said, with specific parts within the industry, it's a really
mm-hmm.
good resource because luckily we're a husband and wife team. We bounce off each other. We kind of pick up the slack where the other one is maybe better or worse at certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So I can imagine if you're a sole entrepreneur and you're the only person doing the business, it can get very tough. So it's like, as you said, having
Yeah.
flexibility is great.
Yeah, it's just being able to share ideas and bounce ideas off people that are doing similar things. Like most of us don't have food entrepreneur kind of like experience. We've never started a business, and a lot of them haven't really worked in the food industry before. So just being able to share ideas with other people, it just makes a big difference, especially when they're like similar journeys as you are. That you both have kind of like the same targets. You're not competing at all. Why wouldn't you treat it as a team like you would in a normal job? So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I think they'll be really fun and really useful.
Yeah, I think as well for us, like when we started, you obviously look
Mm.
what's out there, you find your USP, you find something you're doing different.
Mm-hmm.
Or like being vegan and gluten free. Initially, it was really hard for us to find something healthy and convenient.
Or
Then we added the nut free element, so there's no one really out there doing exactly that for that niche with being completely nut
mm-hmm.
free, gluten free, and everything. So we would try a few different people's stuff, and some people were kind of quite standoffish. Like I won't name
Mm-hmm.
names, but other businesses like have been again. Like, I've had messages from new companies starting like, oh, who do you use for packaging? Who do you use for freezing? Who do you use it? Like, and I
Yeah.
have to say this is what we do because I think the more people doing the same thing, it's like friendly competition. Like you're selling the concept,
Mm-hmm.
you're selling the idea. Like ice cream is ice cream, although you've obviously gone healthier banana based. Like it's you still have your USPs, and it's still going to be very different
Yeah.
from say Ben and Jerry's or some major corporation, but it's still in the ice cream market. So if you can have other producers helping each other out, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, and actually, I'm like really good like work friends, so to speak, with two other like ice cream producers. One is another one like plant-based ice cream. The other one makes more like ice lollies, and we talk a lot. I mean, the fact that we're doing similar things, we are like targeting slightly different consumers, so there probably will be overlap. But at the end of the day, for example, with ice cream, like one person isn't just going to buy one brand forever. They're probably going to buy, a multitude of brands that like even I sometimes still buy Ben and Jerry's because it is different. Like you want to like have different things at different times. So I think it's friendly competition is great, and you share ideas and oh, have you thought about that, or have you thought about this other thing, and it's just going to help you both grow rather than be like super competitive and not even talk to other people. Which I won't name names, but I've had that as well when someone that makes ice cream hears that I make ice cream, like, okay, I don't want anything to do with you. It's like, well, that's silly, really. It's not going to lead to anything, and I'm not going to copy your ideas. Like, I already have my own little thing going.
Yeah, no, I think it's like obviously if you've been doing something for a long time, you see someone new to the market,
Mm,
you actually see them as a threat. Like I think it must obviously be a bit like, oh, who's this person think they can come in? But again, like
yeah.
we're super open. Like we want to encourage more people to do this because it's such a great thing having more plant-based or vegan businesses promoting the same
Hmm.
thing, whether it's through ethical packaging or the kind of bigger picture. So again, for the donations for every meal someone buys, we donate a meal.
Yeah.
Having those kind of social economic impact. Um,
Mhm.
Circling back around, so you said
Mhm.
when you were young, did you grow up in Spain?
Yeah. So yeah, my dad's Spanish, my mum was American, but moved to Spain before I was born, and they met there. And yeah, and the family business is a restaurant, a tapas restaurant in Seville, the south of Spain. So I grew up there, and I really missed it. I miss the sun, I miss the tapas. And I remember coming back from from school at lunchtime and just getting to the restaurant and be like, okay, what do you want for food? That you can literally choose off the menu. So it was a great way to grow up.
Amazing. What's your earliest memory of a particular meal or experience you had of food that you've gone, oh, I need this all the time?
Oh, I don't know. I guess it's like food has just always been such a big thing for our family because obviously with a restaurant like that is the main thing. Um, so I don't know. I just remember being like sat down in the terrace of the restaurant with my family. We always kind of like sit in the same table with my grandparents there, and just everyone enjoying a lovely meal together. Loads of tapas. So I think it was more about that kind of like family experience rather than me like just the particular food. I mean, I still think my mom's bravas are the best ones out there. Yeah, it's just yeah, food has always been such a thing that brought us together as a family. It's been really important for us.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think the Spanish way of eating, the tapas thing,
Mm,
like it's such a big sociable thing. So you can imagine, like,
yeah.
especially during lockdown where you can't necessarily see all your family and be spending time, like it must be hard, like not to have that as part of your kind of culture. So yeah,
Yeah, it's the whole social aspect of food and yeah, just sharing in tapas style. Yeah, I do miss that. And with lockdown, obviously, a lot has changed. But yeah, luckily my parents were in London like 2 weeks before lockdown, completely coincidentally. So yeah, not too bad. Got to share a bit with them and got to show them around the London food scene, which is always fun.
nice.
Yeah.
Um, so again, aside from sort of your Spanish upbringing, is there any particular
Mhm.
meal, recipe, smell, or spice, or something that takes you back to a place or time when you went, "Oh, every time I have this, or even if I think of
Mm.
this meal, I can picture being here."
Oh, that's a really interesting question. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, obviously, yeah. Every time I go to a Spanish restaurant in Spain, that brings me back home. Um, I don't know. I think this is a weird one, especially now that like with a vegan business. But ricotta cheese, which I don't have often at all, but whenever I had ricotta, that would bring me back to my grandmother's lasagna in the States. She adds ricotta to her lasagna, which is not a normal ingredient, not like a normal type of cheese. But that would remind me of her. But I haven't had that in ages, so yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one.
That's really nice. You can see it,
Yeah.
like you could see in your face that that brought back a happy
Mm,
memory, and I think that's exactly why I wanted to start this series because we are all so
yeah.
emotionally charged around food, whether it's conscious or unconscious. You will have stories around certain foods, ones that you experienced as a young child and went, I'm never eating that again, or it's like that where it was the ricotta in a lasagna. You can obviously now make
Mm,
that vegan. There is really good. I don't know if you've ever made macadamia ricotta. You can just
I
do
haven't,
soak
but
macadamias with salt, lemon juice, and some water. Mash that up in a
okay.
Vitamix or some sort of blender, and it goes to a
Mm.
really nice ricotta texture. That would
Oh, cool.
great in a plant-based lasagna. We've been
Yeah.
lasagna a few times on our menu, but again, making it nut-free,
Mm.
a good kind of cheesy sauce and good gluten-free pasta sheets and all this stuff. So it'll be a bit of trial and
Yeah.
error, but it could be something we end up doing one day.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, yeah, because there's a creaminess of ricotta. Again, if you use it nuts, you will probably get that creaminess as well. That would probably like adds a whole different layer to the lasagna. So that would be really exciting. Maybe something I need to try for
So with
sure.
the your current diet, then, are you vegan or
Mm.
plant-based? And if so, what's your kind of journey been?
Yeah, so I'll say I'm not completely vegan just yet. It's something that I'm looking to transition. Obviously, growing up in Spain, I feel like meat was kind of like the main thing of a meal. You kind of plan a meal around meat, even if it's like tapas. You've always have like meat as the main thing. So I kind of do struggle a little bit with the like mentality of like you don't need meat in the main dish. And I'm like learning lots of new recipes, and I love cooking, so I'm moving away from that a lot more. But sometimes I do kind of like miss that element. Um, but at the same time, so my boyfriend, for example, he's like pure meat eater. He's one of those that doesn't really like veggies. I'm trying to get the veggies in there. But we were making fajitas the other night, and he was cutting the chicken. I was like, I just can't eat that. It just doesn't look appealing at all. So I had a completely veggie one. I went for black beans instead. So there's a lot of me more that's moving towards like I even look at a piece of meat and I'm like, oh, I don't really fancy that. And I guess the main reasons I'm doing it is, I guess the main one is the animals. I don't really like the idea of thinking that an animal has had to die for me to eat. Like it doesn't seem right, especially with all the meat alternatives that we have these days. The nutritional value, we now know that we don't actually need to eat meat to get all the nutrition that we need. So yes, I think it's a work in progress, and I feel really bad about saying this, but I think the one thing that I miss the most is probably steak, which is because it has such a unique flavor. And I guess for us, it was always like a bit of a treat when you have steak. So I think that's the main thing that I haven't found a substitute. I don't know if do you have any substitutes for that?
I was just talking with Robbie yesterday, actually. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's an Israeli company that's done a 3D printed steak.
I have seen that, yeah.
Like, it blew my mind. It's like the fat, the muscle, and the blood elements like print together, and it makes this texture. But yeah, it's these kind of meat alternatives. There's some out there that are very natural. Like I really like the ones that they use chickpeas or this or that, and they've transformed it. Like there's a company that makes sunflower mince just from sunflower seeds. It's
okay.
It works kind of like better than a soy mince or corn mince. It's got a really good protein content, really natural. Like it's literally just the sunflower seeds. And like for me, I love that side, but I'll still have say like the Linda McCartney burgers or the odd Beyond Meat burgers are phenomenal. Like it's scarily kind of close to being a burger.
Yeah.
But again, for
have you seen the new burgers? I haven't had them, but moving mountains, I think they're called. Apparently they bleed. I think they put like beetroot juice into it so that they like bleed out. So I haven't tried them, but those look interesting as well.
Yeah, it's the set. Yeah, so Beyond Meat, Moving Mountains, Impossible, they're all kind of very similar. I know Jason from Bread and Jam and the Food Hub, he's just released a range of burgers, which is kind of for the vegetarian market as well, called Unruly Foods, I think it is.
Yeah,
and they look really good, so I need to give them a try. But steak. I think the steak thing is, well, the meat market or alternative meat market is a big booming thing at the moment. They're investing billions and billions of pounds into it because from ethical, environmental, and kind of dietary lifestyle choices, people are kind of moving that way. But again, we're not out there trying to preach like everyone needs to go vegan right now. That's the whole beauty of it. We're kind of saying, here's an alternative. We make healthy meals. You can do this, and we don't like to kind of say, do this, don't do this. Like I think that turns people off. You just want to be open to it and show people how good things can be. So as you said, like my wife always says, progress, not perfection. It's a really good way of thinking. So again, everyone's on a journey. We're not expecting everyone to suddenly turn around and go, yeah, I'm vegan. But it's interesting because, as you said, it is a very cultural thing. Like if you grow up eating meat, part of it, it's amazing how that ingrains within you.
Yeah, because I remember even as a kid, it was like, okay, what are we having for dinner? And then you kind of like choose fish or meat, and then what specifically, and then you build a meal around it, and then you're like, okay, well, let's have potatoes or carrots or broccoli, whatever it is, as a side dish. So kind of like moving that away of like, oh, what we have for dinner, like broccoli. Like obviously that doesn't have the same appeal. But as you say, there's so many new meat alternatives. There's so many like new things that you can try, and it's becoming easier and easier. And one of the things that I love about Banana Scoops is like we're like accidentally vegan. We're a bit like, you know, baked beans, which are like everyone eats, and they just happen to be vegan, or I hope most of them are. So yeah, that's what I like about it. Is that it's perfect for everyone. You don't have to be vegan to have it, and the more of these kind of like products that we have, was like you don't have to be a vegan to have it. Just try it. It still tastes nice. It's a bit like when you ask people and they're like, "Oh, I've never had anything vegan." Well, what about chips?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not the McDonald's ones, but like most chips are vegan. Like it is silly how it's almost become like for some people a bit alienating the word vegan. They see it as like, oh well, that's just grass, isn't it? So there's so many new products out there. I'm like loving. I finally managed to get an Ocado slot, and I'm just adding all the vegan products that I can get, like trying all new things.
Nice. So
Yeah.
yeah, on that note as well, is there any particular ingredient or product you've come across recently and gone, this is amazing, I can't stop eating it, drinking it, buying it? Is there
Hmm.
any kind of food or drink product out there that you're currently obsessed with?
Yeah, I guess one of the good things about Ocado is that they have so many small businesses in them. I think it's probably one of the like bigger supermarkets that have the like biggest amount of small producers in them. I've been just trying to get as many small producer stuff as possible. So within my shopping list of like, okay, how many small businesses can I support with this? Um, so some of the really good stuff that I've had. So I just had Honest Beans. They make fava beans hummus. And that's really, really good. I don't know if you've tried it. It's not the same as chickpea hummus, but it's super tasty. So I really, really like that. Um, what else? I've had loads of stuff and my mind has gone blank now. Like, what have I been eating? I've also had nush. I made like a veggie vegan risotto yesterday and I added nush to it, like a natural cream cheese, and that was super good, like so really creamy. So really enjoyed that. But yeah, and the Linda McCartney meatballs, I think those are excellent. I had them in a again, I make like pad thai, completely vegan, to avoid all the fish sauce and all of that. And the meatballs just taste like actual meatballs. They don't look when you before you put them in the oven. I don't know if you've seen them. They don't look that amazing. They look a bit weird. Once you put them in the oven, I was like, this is great. I actually went back for more.
Yeah, we've shaped them before because they come like all obviously as the balls. We kind of
Mm.
squashed them down and made them into kebab skewers and then put them on the barbecue.
Oh,
They
nice.
work really well. Like I think meatball wise, they've got so
Mm.
much flavour. Like they're so herby. Like I tried to
Yeah.
know it, but there's so much flavour in them. It's actually quite hard.
Yeah. I feel like if you put them in a marinade, like a barbecue marinade or something like that, and gave it to someone that eats meat, they probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Probably tell them it's I don't know, lamb kebab or something
Yeah,
like that, and they probably believe it. So I think that's amazing. Again, it's just so many products like this. It's really good. It's really making the difference. So even if not everyone is becoming fully vegan, the amount of people that are using more plant-based meals in their cooking, it's just amazing. And like the whole thing about like progress, not perfection. If we get 50% of the population not being vegan but eating more vegan foods, then that's a huge difference. That's already going to change so much.
I think during lockdown, there's been stats on the
Mm.
number of meat alternatives being purchased. Firstly, because meat was either really expensive
Mhm.
or hard to get hold of, and secondly, people were kind of
Yeah.
going, "Well, I'm not doing as much exercise. I'm not really leaving my house. Maybe I look into something healthier alternative," and discovering some of these new products that they're just giving a try. And it's
Yeah.
as you said, the smaller brands on Ocado is a great step. I've seen even Sainsbury's have started doing kind of
Mm.
the new brand section. There's a section within the
Yeah.
store, and it's nice because a lot of them are part of the food hub. So if anyone watching this
Yeah.
is a food producer or within food or drink, definitely check out the food hub on Facebook. It's a really good network of food businesses and entrepreneurs just all in one place, from graphic designers, photographers. Like it's a great network and way to meet people and just say, has anyone got a supplier for this, or I've got a question on this.
Yeah.
So for yourself, so when you got the listing with Ocado, how did that come about?
Mhm. Yeah, so I actually only realized yesterday how it came about. You know, there's like so many things happen and it almost comes like just aligns, and I only put the dots together yesterday. So it's actually at Bread and Jam. I didn't know, but I met the head of, I don't know, fresh food or fresh and frozen food, so pretty much all foods, from Ocado. And it was one of the tasting panels. I was literally there for 10 minutes. There was a guy from Ocado, someone from Whole Foods, someone from Harrods, and someone I can't remember. I've been trying to think. So I didn't think much of that. So I just met this guy randomly. And then a few months later, I found him on LinkedIn, not knowing that it was him. And I sent him a message to say, I'm starting this brand. You know, I've got everything ready. I've got the packaging and the manufacturer sorted. Would love to send you some samples. And obviously, he recognized me and he had already tried the product. So he introduced me to the ice cream buyer straight away and said, set up a meeting. So it was amazing. That was November last year. And then we had the meeting in January. I mean, this is a bit of a proud moment, but they said that my presentation was one of the best ones they've had from a small producer. So it was a big, big win. And actually, the day after, they were like, yeah, we really like it. We want to stock you. Let's negotiate. So it was really, really quick. So all of that seemed really smooth. I mean, it really wasn't, but it seemed smooth. And then obviously lockdown came and everything got delayed massively. So we were meant to be on Ocado kind of like first week of April, and then got delayed until the last week of May in the end. So it was a 2 month delay. It wasn't too bad, but the worst thing was the uncertainty, because with everything going on, no one knew what was happening. We didn't have a date. I was like, I don't even know if this is happening at all with everything going on. I had heard of like other brands saying they're starting to delist products. I was like, well, if they're delisting some stuff, they're not going to take new stuff on board.
Mm-hmm.
But got really lucky that we launched at the end of May, and actually Planet Organic and As Nature Intended got in touch around the same time, and we launched with them a week later. So it was quite a crazy period.
That's amazing. I think it must. You're in terms of scaling up, and when you said you found this producer, it must have been a kind of interesting process to say, like, right, how much are you committing to? And with frozen food, obviously you need frozen storage. So how was negotiating logistics around volumes for these different things all at once? Like, were they very flexible with you? Did you have to change producer?
Yeah. So actually, our manufacturer has been absolutely amazing. Like I can't fault them. They've been great and super easy to work with. I think even though when you I mostly deal with the director, and he's like, I mean, this is bad to say, but he's an old white man, so he's not our target. He probably eats a lot of meat, and he probably makes a lot of non-natural ice creams or full of sweeteners, full of sugar. So it's like, when I first met him, I was like, oh, is he going to like understand what I'm doing? But actually, he really got it from the start, and he saw that the trend in the market is definitely dairy free, but also preservative free and natural, and as not processed as possible. So he really understood, and they've been really flexible, and we've kind of worked with them in a just-in-time kind of approach. So whenever I get a purchase order from Ocado, I send it to them, and they kind of produce it that week, and it gets sent within a week to Ocado. So actually, it's been really, really flexible in that sense, and we've managed to like negotiate really good payment terms as well. So I get paid by Ocado, and then I pay our manufacturer, which just makes everything so much easier. Especially with us, it's just me and the company. We don't have external investment. Just me running around wearing all different hats. So having a manufacturer that's super supportive in that way, it's flexible, you get really good payment terms, makes a huge difference. I don't think we would be able to do the company without it, actually.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I've heard stories of trying to get this, say, some of the big supermarkets and certain payment terms being right. It's a year and a half and like blah blah blah. And like, it's crazy. So it's amazing to have these conversations and actually get it to the point you're like, yeah, actually this is working really well. We can manage this, and you've done a fantastic job. So I can't wait to get some when it's in one of these other stores as well.
Yeah. Obviously, that's the next kind of step. I guess we're taking this summer to kind of like just consolidate the listings that we currently have and make sure people know who we are, because at the end of the day, we're still a really small brand. So a lot of the work going on at the moment is just spreading awareness. But yeah, then people like Waitrose will be on the list, hopefully.
Amazing. Do you have any advice for people who are either just starting out or someone who may go, oh, I'm kind of thinking of doing it, but like what was your kind of rationale to say, I'm taking the leap, I believe in it, this is happening?
Yeah. Well, I guess a lot of it is like just believe in yourself. And the other thing that I used to have, which is, it's funny to think about now, but I was like, okay, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go freelance. And, if I can't get any freelance work, it's okay, because I can always just go work in a bar. Obviously, that's not anymore. It's quite funny, because my backup plan is like, it's fine. I've worked in restaurants before. My parents own one. I can just be a bartender or a waitress, or I can work in a supermarket. It's like, okay, that's not an option anymore. So, but it's fine. Like you find ways around it. And if anyone's thinking of doing it, let's just go for it. Join all the support networks that you can. Join the food hub. Make friends. Obviously, there's not a lot of events going on at the moment, but before lockdown, there were so many food events in London. Like you could easily go to one a week, if not more. So go to as many events as you can. I'm in a little WhatsApp group with like 4 other entrepreneurs, and we're all in the food industry, slightly different stages, but it's just so great. We speak on it on a daily basis. It's almost like just get people that know what you're doing, because your friends and family will be supportive, but they don't necessarily understand what you're going through. So get as many people as you can that understand the process, ask questions, reach out to bigger brands and ask them questions. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a big brand at all, but I get people asking me questions, and I try and be as honest and as helpful as I possibly can. So people are really willing to give back, and I think that's really nice of the food like industry, which you don't necessarily get in other ones.
That's amazing. Yeah, great advice. I think, yeah, totally same wavelength in terms of just
Mm.
keep believing in yourself. If you believe in it enough to say, no, it can be successful, it will be successful, then what have you got to lose? As you said, you can always pick up work another time. Like now, lockdown's kind of
Yeah.
easing. It's not quite as much of a worry as the last few months have been, but still
Hmm.
should be fully hurt. Like try and kind of work out your backup plan a little bit, whether that is a buffer of
Yeah.
money, whether you've got like we used the startup loans company. That's who we managed to kind of
Hmm.
get our kind of early finance with. So again, it's finding these pockets of money or ways that you go, actually, the risk versus reward, it's worth taking a gamble on.
Yeah, and there's so many like support networks out there. Actually, like this morning, I had an interview for an accelerator program that my university did. So I studied at King's here in London a few years ago, and they're doing an accelerator program now. It's completely free, and you get like loads of experts, kind of like expertise, lots of workshops, and lots of people to bounce ideas off. There's so many networks like this. This is obviously only open for like King students, but there's so many out there. I know LSE do one, UCL do others, and there's others that are not affiliated with the university. So there's just so much advice out there. And it's annoying, but especially if you're in London, there's just so much out there. You can always get support.
Definitely. And as I think the
Yeah.
one benefit of this whole lockdown thing is a lot of this stuff has moved
Mm.
online. So if you do look around,
Yeah.
like you'll find these events online where you can sign in. A lot of the time they're free or very nominal, like £5 or £10. So it's not a massive investment.
Hmm.
Say the people you're speaking to are worth that time and money. So again,
Yeah.
keep your eyes out and look for these resources. Um,
Hmm.
Going back to the food side,
Yeah.
what's your kind of quick go-to meal if you're having these crazy busy days, juggling all the suppliers and
Mm.
else? Like, what's your kind of go-to quick lunch or dinner?
God, so with lockdown, and I don't want to sound cliche, but actually, I've quite been enjoying avocado on toast. I know
Uh,
it's the most cliche, most millennial thing to say, but it's just such an easy thing. Obviously, this is my like pet peeve is choosing the right avocados. It feels like it's so hard to get like good avocados, but if you do, I just get it on rye bread and put a bit of like olive oil on top, and it's perfect. So that's kind of like my easiest go-to meal. I also have quite a lot of smoothies. So either I use banana scoops as a base sometimes, like the chocolate one is great, the chocolate plant-based milk, peanut butter, and spinach, and it's got a winner there. But yeah, those are like really easy meals. With lockdown, I really enjoyed cooking, and my mum was like the chef at the restaurant that they owned. So I've always like cooked a lot. So with the lockdown, I've been trying a lot of new recipes, which has been really, really fun. So yeah, so lockdown has had the good things like cooking has kind of been like my little like de-stressor, the kind of thing that I can do, and just really enjoy it. And yeah, it doesn't seem like we're in lockdown when you're just cooking at home. So it was a good way of like keeping my mind occupied and distracted.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that's another like
Yeah.
kind of silver lining is people are taking
Mm.
time because you've got more time. People are going, actually,
Yeah.
we can't go out for dinner. Why don't we cook? Like, if you're in a couple, it's like, actually, I'm going to cook something for a date night. Like, you're seeing people
Mm.
experimenting, looking online, finding recipes. That's another reason
Yeah.
why I launched kind of the free ebook that we do. It's
Mm.
just giving people some free things to say, actually, yeah, I can. I've got time. I might as well try making something myself rather than going here or buying this. But now,
Yeah.
as things are starting to lift, I think for me, it's really important people support the independents, the small businesses,
Mhm.
rather than necessarily running to the chains. Like, yes, McDonald's, KFC,
Yeah.
these big things are open. Like, if that's your go-to, then fair enough. But there's so many smaller brands that are super dependent on our purchasing right now, and every time you buy something, you vote with your money. So again, seeing your ice cream online,
Absolutely.
you're going between your ice cream versus someone else. Like, I think twice about who you're buying from, especially during this period, and go, am I going to be helping someone, or is it some massive corporation who've got shareholders and this and that? Like, yeah, it's just something to kind of bear in mind. Like, that's something I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like 100%. I think all we're doing, like, yeah, from what we're buying on Ocado to like we're moving flats. I'm looking for like little decoration bits. I'm like, okay, what other like small brands can I help with? And it's easy because like actually, if you want to support a small business, you don't actually always have to spend money. Because I know a lot of people have been on furlough or have been made redundant, but there are so many ways that you can help a small brand without spending any money. Just like follow them on Instagram, shout out if you see their products, or if you do buy them, like post it on social media and tell people about it. Like their photos on social media. It just, or tell friends about it. It just makes such a big difference to like small people, small businesses. You know, when it's just one person that you probably still get an order and do a lift of the hands, and it's just so exciting. And I so much would rather put my money into that than buying from a big brand that don't really care. They just see it as a number. When I see, you know, someone on my Instagram tagging me in a post that they bought or ice cream, like that just makes me so happy. And it doesn't feel real. It's like, well, I created that and it's in store. Like, how crazy is that? So I think at the moment, and with everything going on, helping small businesses and supporting them, from your local shop to your local restaurant to a business in Ocado, it just makes such a huge difference. And I think I agree, people are being more aware of that at the moment, which is such a nice thing.
Yeah, even like the things like Instagram putting the support small thing and allowing people to
Mm,
businesses, like it's been really nice to see. Like, there's been obviously
yeah.
a hardship and like a lot of kind of troubling times for lots of people, like businesses and anyone in work and life. But there's
Mm,
been all these kind of little bits where everyone, although we're further apart, we're actually getting more connected. So that's again
yeah.
really nice to see. So doing stuff like this, doing the support networks, the morning meetings, like I think it's just allowing people that space to talk more and making almost like this,
Hmm.
like this is kind of the new socializing rather than
Yeah.
always doing it face to face. But I am really looking forward to the face to face meetings again.
Yeah, no, me too. It'll be nice to be able to see someone. It's weird. It's like we'll be watching TV and I see someone hug each other, and I'm like, that's weird. And it's like, oh no, it's fine. That's what normal is. And this was filmed 2 years ago. It's just weird. So yeah, I am very much looking forward to just be able to see people and go to a bar and all those little things that we just took for granted and did every day. And they don't really think twice about it. Now they feel like such a luxury. So I really can't wait to go back to that and do events and give ice cream away. Like, that'll be so fun.
Amazing. Well, I know you're probably a busy person as well. So before I ask the last question, where can
Mm.
people find you online and where can people buy your products?
Yeah, so we're Banana Scoops, so bananascoops.com or Banana Scoops on Instagram or Facebook. So it's pretty simple. We're selling through Ocado, Plant Organic, as nature intended at the moment. So if you're around, even if you just take a photo of our products in Plant Organic, that makes the whole world to us. So that'd be amazing. Thank you.
Amazing. Well, thank you for your time.
Mm.
Last question is, you've
Yes.
lived out your long life, everything you've ever wanted has been achieved, and it's your final meal before you move on to the next life, whatever that may be for you. What would your final
Oh my
meal be?
God. What would my final meal? I don't know. That's such a weird question. Like, not weird, but like difficult. I've never thought about that. I'm gonna stick with I'm gonna have steak, but I want it to be plant based. So I want it to be either printed or whatever, grown in an app or whatever. But a nice plant based steak would be amazing with peppercorn sauce and a good glass of red wine,
And obviously ice cream for dessert.
and obviously ice cream for dessert. Yeah, yeah. What would yours be?
Oh, I haven't actually had a think about mine. That's not part of the show.
Fair enough.
I don't know. For me, I really love kind of simple foods. I love like Mexican
Mm,
food is always one of my go-tos.
mm,
So something like, I don't know, a big chili or nachos or fajitas, like kind of a Mexican
mm.
food. Again, with maybe a few Coronas just to round it off.
Yeah,
And then
yeah. And actually, I should. Sorry, I should have added my mom's patatas bravas because they're the best ones, and they go with steak, so why not?
yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Oh,
thank
that's
you so much
fun.
for your time, and
No, thank you.
have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Right, bye.